you know what, Mike, you guys are right. Let's add some more terms. So, continue to push and make the necessary changes. That's, one thing that has been happening in the year 2020. Make the necessary changes. And speaking of changes, that moves me into our next discussion is that we got our first league, our first conference that has shut it down. And it's the smart people. And I'm not saying smart people like, the rest of us are not smart.
Indeed.
Lopan, were you trying to send a little jab at me? What's your IQ, bro? Yeah, you know what? We're not even going to do that because Lopan is trying to get me off track. Get back on track, Jelani. Get back on track. When I say the smart people, what I mean is the Ivy League for college sports, has shut it down. They said we're canceling the fall season. There will be no fall sports. So that means no basketball, no football, no indoor, whatever's going on at that time. If that's, water polo, that's high dive. High dive. If that's, I don't think lacrosse is played at that time, but any other fall sport, that is being played, volleyball, anything that is sports related to the Ivy League, it's not going to happen. Now, the Ivy League is, they're reported that, they don't depend on sports as much as as other conferences do. Duh. Because they're not handing out scholarships like that. So it's not like, they just got a bunch of people, lined up, to come and see, them to play sports like that. But that doesn't matter. Bigger picture on this thing is that there is something maybe that they are onto. There is something maybe that they know, or it may just be as simple as we're not going to risk it. It's not worth it. Now, of course, again, their situation is a little bit different. I was having a discussion with a friend about this, and I told him, I said, look, hey, man, they still need those students just like all these other colleges need these students, but they need them in a different way. They don't need them to take, a court or field or anything like that. They need them to show up in court or in some type of field because that's how they make their money. You graduate from here, you go on to do whatever it is that you do. Hopefully you're making millions of dollars and then you come back and you invest back into the school. So that could be part of the reason, why they're doing this. But I do think that this is the safe route right now. Now, they said fall. They're looking at, maybe reevaluating this in January. They were saying they may have spring football, which I don't think anyone would, have a problem with. Could the NCAA and other, conferences copy the same, thing? Possibly. But we at least have one conference or one league that has decided to shut sports down. And it said it is not worth it. And I'm going to say this, and I said it before. It's not popular. I'm going to say it again. It's not popular what I'm about to say. But there is a number. I'm sure there's a number with these positive tests. And I just don't, I'm just trying to figure out. And again, that, other people that they're paying for them to figure this stuff out. So I'm not saying I got the answer, but I'm just saying that how are you going to yes, fans, maybe fans don't come to the game. Okay. But you still got players now that are college students now that are getting the virus and no one has been to a game yet. I'm just wondering, how are you going to control that? That's the scary part. Can you control it? Can you, and I don't want to say minimize it. And maybe that's what the Ivy League is like. Look, we don't want no parts of that. We don't want to, have to come up with that decision. But no Ivy League sports. I know some people are going to be disappointed, but it's for the best. Okay? Speaking of for the best, the Ravens and actually the Kansas City Chiefs have did this as well. The Ravens have decided that 2020 is going to be a different season for season ticket holders. Season ticket holders, they said, look, the Ravens got 62,000 season ticket holders. They said, we there's no way, there's no possible way that we can pick and choose and, figure out who can come to the game and all this stuff. So basically, they I think it's 3 options that they gave all the season ticket holders. And one is, forward over to 2021. So you just have your balance, whatever you paid, it stays on there, and then you just go to 2021. I think the other one was you can get all your money back, or the third one, I think it was you can get credit towards some individual games. I might be wrong on that one, but there's 3 options that they are giving you on it. And the max, pretty much almost the max, is a little bit under, but the max that people are going to be allowed to the game, they saying for basically everyone to be social distancing and be safe, is 14,000. You got 62,000 season ticket holders. We're not even talking about the individual game tickets that people are still going to buy. So you got more than 62,000 people in there, and you've dwindled it down to 14,000, a little bit under 14,000 to be safe. So what they've done, they discontinued the individual tickets. I think they gave everybody their money back, and they're basically going to do this over again. They're going to give season ticket holders the first option to I guess, pick any individual games that they may want to go to, and then make it available to the general public. And I just think it is something that's needed. It is something. You don't want to be the franchise who made the mistake, did it wrong, and then a big part of your fan base, you get a spike in this virus, and everyone is looking at you like, what were you doing? And I'd say at 50%. So they went well, below the 50%, because I think the Steelers were looking at 50% a long time ago. So they could change it. But as we get closer to the season, possibly starting, then people are going to be, implementing these changes. And here in Atlanta, they've been deferring payments every month for season ticket holders. And I just think they were trying to figure this thing out. And I thought, if there is a season, there's going to be people that's going to be in the season paying, mid-season, paying on their season tickets. So it's different. And I think a bunch of other franchises are going to jump in on this, because you don't want to be, if you got Kansas City, just defending Super Bowl champions, limiting how many people can come to the game after they've won a Super Bowl. You got Baltimore, who has Lamar Jackson and so much potential and hope and excitement behind this gentleman and what he possibly could bring, to the city of Baltimore. And they are taking these precautions. You don't want to be the team that ain't been to the playoffs in years, and you got 35,000 people, in there. So this is what it's looking like. This is where we're going. This is, we're just going to be watching on TV. We're watching on TV. We're going to be watching 12 games or less. 12 games or less, ladies and gentlemen. 12 games or less. I'm saying it right here. Another thing I'm saying, we're almost at the end of the show, but I didn't say this earlier, so it's my fault. And it's probably because I was on vacation last week. I'm still getting back into the groove, of things. And Lopan, he looks at me and be like, hey, I told you to do that. Indeed. Shut up, Lopan. I'm going to hand out a Big L award tonight. All right? Tonight, this morning, whenever you're listening to this, I'm going to hand out a Big L award. So I'm going to do that on the other side of the break. We got one last thing. The 49ers, they are positioned with a choice to make, and then we'll do the Big L award. So it is the Wait a Minute Show. We'll be back after these words. I can't stand you.
We don't take orders from super fools. We give them.
X gon' give it to you.
Any and all resistance will crumble. Nonsense. There's never been a threat.
Squad.
Couldn't handle. It is the purpose of the
Squad.
to align our infamous forces against the powers of good and defeat them, leaving us, the rulers of the world.
We all hate when we have unexpected car problems. Well, I'm here to tell you about a viable solution. Bay 11 Auto and my man Melvin. You have emission problems? Brakes need changing? Transmission slipping? Is your car just driving sluggish? No problem is too big. I live on the other side of town and I drive over an hour to a guy that I trust. Melvin is honest, dependable, and definitely not in the business to break your pockets. Come see the official mechanic, Melvin, at Bay 11 Auto. You will be glad you did. You can reach him at 1455 General Arts Road, Conyers, Georgia, or 404-295-5715. That's 404-295-5715.
Squad Network, the future of radio.
Yo, what's good? This is Trey Frazier. This is the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in to us every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time.
He's the brain of the operations.
I'm telling you right now, book it!
And him, he's along for the ride. But together, they bring you sports like you've never heard before. The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
Indeed, Lopan. Indeed. So we are back, ladies and gentlemen. And do not forget, Saturdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you're going to listen to it live. I'm not on vacation anymore. So thewaitaminuteshow.com. We also do an episode, and you're here on X Squad Radio Network as well. Now, before I hand out this Big L award, we got a little bit of a breaking news. The Brooklyn Nets have signed free agent Jamal Crawford, and ballin' Jamal. That's all you can call him, man. The dude is just a baller, and went to my favorite, university to cheer for college basketball, and that's the University of Michigan. So that's a good thing, and it was a needed thing because Brooklyn had about 4 guys that have, tested positive, and you got other guys that's not going to play due to injuries and everything. So you need to get somebody to play if you're gonna go down there, and that they got Jamal Crawford, so they got a baller on their team. You're gonna come down there and do some work, and actually you have 2 Michigan Wolverines on there because Karis LeVert is on that team as well. So 2 ballers from the U of M, but Jamal Crawford, the newest addition to the Brooklyn Nets to finish out this season. Now, speaking of this season that's coming up, look, we had a Super Bowl, Kansas City versus San Francisco versus Kansas City, right? Pretty good Super Bowl. It wasn't bad. We saw who won, but how all these 2 teams met was very interesting, and we got a very interesting matchup when we had Damian Williams against Raheem Mostert, because that was the first Super Bowl, I want to say, that was both starting running backs were free agents. They were not drafted. And look, they both have interesting stories as far as how they ended up where they, ended up. So I bring all that up is because Raheem Mostert, a lot of people talked about this guy last year and how many teams he's been on and how many times he's been cut.